Hello my friends, I am Sally. Enjoy today's story and don't forget to press the like button and follow the channel so that you receive notifications of the latest stories. Thank you my friends. I love you all.
The Lion King of the Jungle and the Princess Gazelle. In the heart of a vast and beautiful jungle, a mighty lion named Leo ruled as king. He was strong and wise, with a golden mane that shone in the sunlight. All the animals respected him, for he protected the jungle and ensured that peace was kept among the creatures. One day, as Leo walked through the jungle, he saw a graceful gazelle with fur as white as the clouds and eyes as bright as the stars. She moved with such elegance that the wind itself seemed to follow her steps. She was Princess Layla, the daughter of the gazelle leader. Leo watched as Layla helped a group of small birds gather food. She was kind, gentle, and full of wisdom. The Lion King was impressed. That evening, Leo invited Layla to his den. "You are not only beautiful but also kind and wise," he said. "Would you help me rule the jungle with fairness and compassion?" Layla smiled. "A strong ruler must also have a kind heart. I would be honored to help." Together, Leo and Layla brought harmony to the jungle. Leo protected the weak and made sure all animals lived in safety, while Layla helped settle disputes with fairness and understanding. But not everyone was happy. A cunning hyena named Zor did not like the peace. He wanted chaos so he could steal food without consequences. One day, Zor spread a terrible rumor. "The Lion King listens too much to the gazelle. He is no longer strong," he whispered to the other animals. Doubt began to spread, and soon, the animals started arguing among themselves. Leo and Layla called a great meeting. The Lion King stood tall. "Strength without wisdom leads to destruction," he roared. "And wisdom without strength cannot protect the weak." Layla stepped forward. "A true leader listens to all, acts with fairness, and cares for every creature, big or small." The animals realized their mistake. They saw how Leo and Layla ruled together, balancing strength and wisdom, and they banished the deceitful hyena from the jungle. From that day on, the jungle thrived under the rule of the Lion King and the Princess Gazelle, proving that true leadership comes from both courage and kindness. The Hedgehog and the Crow. In a quiet meadow near the edge of a great forest, lived a small hedgehog named Henry. He was covered in soft brown quills and loved to spend his days collecting leaves and berries. Though he was kind and clever, he often felt lonely because the other animals thought he was too prickly to play with. One day, while Henry was gathering food, a black crow named Clara landed nearby. She watched as Henry struggled to carry a large apple. "That looks heavy," Clara said. "Do you need help?" Henry looked up, surprised. "You want to help me?" Clara nodded. "Of course. Friends help each other." Henry smiled. No one had ever called him a friend before. Clara pecked at the apple, making it easier for Henry to roll it back to his burrow. As the days passed, Henry and Clara became best friends. They explored the meadow together, shared their food, and told each other stories. But the other animals whispered behind their backs. "A crow and a hedgehog? That's a strange friendship," laughed the rabbits. "They have nothing in common," muttered the squirrels. One morning, as Henry and Clara played near the river, they heard a loud cry. A little rabbit had fallen into the water, struggling to stay afloat. Henry and Clara rushed to help. Clara flew above the river, guiding the rabbit toward a branch, while Henry carefully used his quills to grab onto the rabbit's fur and pull him to safety. The other animals watched in amazement. "You saved him!" the rabbits gasped. "You two make a great team," said the squirrels. From that day on, the animals no longer laughed at their friendship. They saw that true friends aren't alike in every way, they simply care for each other. Henry and Clara continued their adventures, proving that the best friendships are built not on similarities, but on kindness and trust. The camel sees the sea for the first time. In the vast golden desert, a young camel named Kareem lived with his family. He loved walking on the soft sand, playing near the dunes, and feeling the warm sun on his back. But Kareem had one big dream: wanted to see the sea. "What's the sea like?" he often asked the older camels. "It's endless and blue," said his mother. "It's loud and powerful," said his father. "It's nothing like the desert," said his grandfather. Kareem's curiosity grew. One day, he decided to set off on an adventure to find the sea. With a determined heart and strong legs, he walked for days, leaving the golden dunes behind and following the distant breeze that smelled different from the desert air. Finally, after a long journey, Kareem climbed over a hill and gasped. Before him stretched a vast blue world, the sea. The water sparkled under the sun, and waves danced toward the shore. Kareem trotted closer, dipping his hooves into the wet sand. A wave rushed forward and touched his feet. He jumped back in surprise. "It's cold," he laughed. A friendly seagull landed nearby. "First time seeing the sea?" she asked. "Yes," Kareem said excitedly. "It's so different from the desert. The sand here is soft and the air feels wet." The seagull chuckled. "The world is full of amazing places. The desert is warm and golden, and the sea is cool and blue. Both are special in their own way." Kareem smiled. He realized that even though the desert and the sea were different, both were beautiful. After a while, Kareem turned to go home. He couldn't wait to tell his family about his adventure. When he returned to the desert, he stood on a dune and looked at the endless golden waves of sand. He loved the sea, but he also loved his home. And from that day on, Kareem knew that no matter where his hooves took him, the world was full of wonders waiting to be discovered. Barnaby, a dreamy bear with fur the color of honey, loved his forest home. Each morning, he'd embark on a walk, his paws patting softly on the mossy ground. Sunlight dripped through the leaves, painting dappled patterns on the forest floor. He'd pause by the whispering willows, their branches swaying gently in the breeze. Sometimes, he'd spot a family of squirrels, their tiny claws scrambling up the oak trees. Barnaby would smile, a gentle, contented smile, enjoying their playful antics. One day, he discovered a hidden grove, filled with wildflowers of every imaginable hue. Butterflies with wings like stained glass fluttered around him, their delicate dance a mesmerizing spectacle. He felt a sense of wonder, a deep connection to the beauty surrounding him. He continued deeper, discovering a crystal-clear stream, its waters sparkling like 1,000 diamonds. He cupped his paws, drinking the cool, refreshing water. As he walked further, he encountered a wise old owl perched on a branch, its eyes gleaming with ancient knowledge. The owl hooted softly, a greeting that felt both comforting and mysterious. Barnaby felt a profound sense of peace in that moment, a feeling of belonging in this magical forest. He continued his journey, the sun beginning to set, casting long shadows across the woodland path. The air grew cooler, carrying the sweet scent of pine needles and damp earth. He passed by a family of deer, their graceful movements a silent ballet in the fading light. As twilight deepened, Barnaby made his way back home, his heart full of gratitude for the beauty he'd witnessed. The forest held a special magic for him, a place where dreams unfolded with every step. He drifted off to sleep, dreaming of butterflies and whispering willows, the sounds of the forest echoing softly in his slumber. He knew tomorrow would bring another adventure, another chance to explore the wonders of his beloved woodland home. The next morning, he woke up with the same dreamy feeling, ready for another walk in his enchanting forest. Ellie the elephant finds a friend. In the heart of a lush green jungle, where the air was filled with the songs of birds and the rustling of leaves, lived Ellie, a young elephant with a playful spirit and a curious heart. Ellie loved exploring her jungle home, from the cool waters of the river to the shady groves of banana trees. But despite all her adventures, Ellie often felt lonely. She longed for a true friend to share her days with. One bright morning, as the sun peeked through the canopy, Ellie decided to venture farther than she ever had before. With her trunk held high and her ears flapping with excitement, she marched into an unfamiliar part of the jungle. The trees here were taller, their leaves shimmering with dew, and the air was alive with new scents and sounds. As Ellie wandered, she heard a soft, melodious chirping. Curious, She followed the sound until she came upon a small bird trapped in a thorny bush. The bird, a brightly colored parrot named Pip, was struggling to free its wing. "Oh no! Are you hurt?" Ellie asked gently, her big eyes filled with concern. "I'm stuck," Pip replied, his voice trembling. "These thorns are so sharp, and I can't get out." Without hesitation, Ellie used her strong trunk to carefully pull the thorny branches apart. "There you go," she said with a smile. Pip fluttered his wings and perched on Ellie's back. "Thank you so much." "I don't know what I would have done without you," Pip said, his voice now filled with gratitude. "My name is Pip. What's yours?" "I'm Ellie," she replied. "It's nice to meet you, Pip." The two quickly became friends. Pip showed Ellie how to find the sweetest fruit in the jungle, and Ellie taught Pip how to safely cross the river by riding on her back. They laughed, played, and shared stories of their adventures. For the first time, Ellie felt the joy of having a true companion. One day, as they explored together, they stumbled upon a group of animals gathered in a clearing. A young monkey was stuck at the top of a tall tree, too afraid to climb down. The other animals didn't know how to help. "We can do it together," Ellie said to Pip. With Pip's guidance, Ellie carefully positioned herself beneath the tree. Pip flew up to the monkey and encouraged him to climb onto Ellie's back. With Ellie's steady support, the monkey safely reached the ground. The animals cheered, and the monkey thanked them both. From that day on, Ellie and Pip were known as the jungle's best team. They helped anyone in need, proving that kindness and teamwork could solve even the toughest problems. Ellie was no longer lonely, for she had found not just a friend, but a partner in adventure. And so, Ellie and Pip's friendship grew stronger with each passing day, their bond a shining example of how even the most unlikely pair can become the best of friends. Together, they made the jungle a brighter, happier place for everyone.
In the lush and vibrant expanse of the savannah, there lived a spirited young gazelle named Gigi. Unlike the others in her herd who were content with their daily routines of grazing and leaping, Gigi was brimming with boundless energy and an insatiable thirst for adventure. Why stay here when there's a whole world to explore? Gigi often wondered aloud. The elder gazelles would chuckle and shake their heads, saying, "The world is too big and dangerous for a little gazelle like you." But Gigi's imagination couldn't be tamed. One golden morning, as the sun stretched its rays across the plains, Gigi decided it was time to turn her dreams into reality. She whispered her plan to her best friend, a cautious but loyal meerkat named Milo. "Let's go on an adventure, Milo. Let's see what lies beyond the horizon." Milo hesitated, wringing his tiny paws. "Gigi, the horizon is far, and danger lurks everywhere. What if we get lost? What if we meet predators?" Gigi flashed a confident grin. "That's the point of an adventure, Milo. Together, we can face anything." Reluctantly, Milo agreed, and the two set off, just as the morning dew glistened on the grass. Their journey began with wonder. Gigi and Milo discovered a sparkling stream where fish darted like silver arrows, and a grove of baobab trees where colorful birds sang songs they had never heard before. Gigi marveled at everything, her joy infectious enough to make Milo forget his worries for a while. As the day wore on, they wandered farther from familiar territory. The grasses grew taller, and the sounds of the savannah became unfamiliar. Suddenly, a low growl stopped them in their tracks. Emerging from the shadows was a sleek cheetah, its amber eyes fixed on them. Milo trembled, but Gigi stood firm. "Stay behind me," she whispered, her voice steady despite her racing heart. Thinking quickly, Gigi remembered something her mother had taught her. Predators respect confidence. Show them you're not afraid. Gigi stomped her hooves and snorted, raising her head high. "You don't want to waste your energy chasing us," she said boldly. "There's a herd of wildebeest just over that hill. There'll be a much better meal." The cheetah paused, considering her words. Then, with a flick of its tail, it turned and disappeared into the grass. Milo stared at Gigi in amazement. "How did you do that?" Gigi let out a shaky laugh. "I just hoped it wouldn't call my bluff." As evening fell, Gigi and Milo found a small hill to rest on. From the top, they could see the vastness of the savannah stretching endlessly before them. The horizon was painted in shades of pink and orange, and stars began to twinkle above. "This is incredible," Milo admitted, his earlier fears forgotten. "I never would have seen this if it weren't for you, Gigi." Gigi smiled, her heart swelling with pride. "The world is full of beauty and challenges, Milo. Today, we proved we're braver than we thought."
Once upon a time, in the golden grasslands of Serenova, there lived a young gazelle named Lila. She was unlike any other gazelle in her herd. While her friends spent their days perfecting their leaps and racing across the plains, Lila would gaze at the sky, mesmerized by the eagles soaring effortlessly above. "If only I could fly," Lila often sighed, her heart swelling with wonder. The other gazelles would laugh and say, "Oh, Lila, gazelles are made to run, not to fly. You're chasing an impossible dream." But Lila was undeterred. She spent hours observing the birds, trying to understand their movements. She mimicked the way they spread their wings and practiced flapping her slender legs, much to the amusement of her herd. One day, she whispered to herself, "I will touch the clouds." One crisp morning, Lila's opportunity arrived. She met an eccentric inventor named Marlowe the magpie. Marlowe was known throughout the grasslands for his peculiar gadgets and whimsical ideas. When Lila shared her dream, Marlowe's eyes sparkled with excitement. "A gazelle who wants to fly? Now that's a challenge I can't resist," he exclaimed. Together they got to work. Marlowe scavenged materials from the forest twigs, feathers, vines, and bits of shiny metal while Lila tested contraptions with boundless enthusiasm. Their first attempt, a pair of makeshift wings, ended with Lila tumbling into a bush. The second, a glider-like frame, sent her skidding across the ground. But with each failure, Lila's determination grew stronger. Weeks turned into months, and finally, Marlowe unveiled his masterpiece, a flying harness powered by the wind. It was a delicate contraption, with broad, feathered wings and a sturdy harness that fit snugly around Lila's frame. "This is it," Marlowe declared. "Are you ready?" With her heart pounding, Lila nodded. They climbed to the top of Windspire Hill, the highest point in Serenova. The wind howled around them as Marlowe made the final adjustments. "Remember," he said, "believe in yourself, and the sky will be yours." Lila took a deep breath and leaped. For a moment, she felt nothing but the rush of wind against her face. Then, the wings caught the air, and she began to glide. Higher and higher she soared, her hooves leaving the earth far below. The plains stretched out like a golden sea, and the clouds embraced her like old friends. The animals below watched in awe as Lila, the gazelle who dared to dream, danced among the eagles. "She did it!" they cheered. Lila's heart swelled with joy. She had proven that even the wildest dreams could take flight with courage, determination, and a little help from a clever magpie. From that day on, Lila became a legend in Serenova. Her story inspired others to chase their own dreams, no matter how impossible they seemed. And though her hooves still touched the ground, Lila's heart remained forever in the skies. Milo the mouse who wanted to fly. In a cozy little burrow beneath an old oak tree, there lived a tiny mouse named Milo. Milo was not like other mice in the meadow. While his friends were content to scurry about, gathering crumbs and seeds, Milo spent hours gazing at the sky. He watched the birds soar gracefully above the trees, and dreamed of what it might feel like to fly. "Mice aren't meant to fly, Milo," his sister Bella often said, shaking her head. "We're meant to stay on the ground where it's safe." But Milo was determined. "If birds can do it, why can't I?" he would reply. And so, one sunny morning, Milo set out on a quest to achieve his dream. First, he visited his friend Robin, a cheerful sparrow who lived in the tree above his burrow. "Robin," Milo said, "will you teach me how to fly?" Robin tilted his head thoughtfully. "Well, Milo, flying takes wings and you don't have any. But I'll help you however I can." He plucked a few feathers from his own wing and helped Milo attach them to his arms with sticky sap. Milo climbed to the highest branch he could find. "Here I go," he squeaked, leaping into the air. But instead of soaring, he tumbled into a soft pile of leaves below. Robin flew down, laughing gently. "It was a good try, Milo, but maybe there's another way." Next, Milo visited Theo, the inventive turtle who loved building contraptions. Theo listened carefully as Milo explained his dream. "I think I can help," Theo said, nodding. He led Milo to his workshop, where he crafted a pair of wings from twigs, fabric, and string. With Theo's invention strapped to his back, Milo climbed to a hilltop. As the wind picked up, he ran as fast as his little legs could carry him and jumped. For a moment, he felt the thrill of gliding, but then a strong gust sent him spiraling to the ground. Though he landed unharmed, the wings were in tatters. "Thank you, Theo," Milo said, "but I guess this isn't the way either." Feeling discouraged, Milo wandered to the edge of the meadow, where he found Luna, the wise old owl. "Why the long face, Milo?" Luna asked. Milo sighed. "I've tried everything, but I can't seem to fly." Milo thought about Luna's words as he walked home. That night, as he lay in his burrow, he had an idea. The next day, Milo gathered supplies and worked tirelessly. By evening, he had built a small hot air balloon from a basket, some cloth, and a tiny candle for heat. With Robin, Theo, and Luna watching, Milo climbed into his balloon and lit the candle. Slowly, the balloon began to rise. Higher and higher it floated, lifting Milo into the sky. For the first time, he saw the meadow, the trees, and the winding river from above. From that day on, Milo was known as the mouse who found a way to fly. He proved that, with determination, creativity, and a little help from friends, even the wildest dreams could come true. Once upon a time, in a large green park, lived a small, fluffy squirrel named Pip. Pip was known for his bright eyes and bushy tail. He spent his days collecting nuts and seeds, burying them in various spots for the winter. One sunny morning, while searching for acorns, Pip stumbled upon a shiny red apple. It was bigger than anything he had ever seen before. He tried to push it, but it was too heavy. Pip decided to call for help. Soon, other squirrels arrived, chattering excitedly. Together, they managed to roll the apple towards Pip's favorite tree. They enjoyed the sweet fruit, sharing it among all. As the days grew shorter, Pip and his friends worked together to gather more food. They learned that sharing made their tasks easier, and that friendship was more valuable than any treasure. Pip, with his bright eyes, was always ready to help. He became a symbol of kindness and cooperation in the park. The other animals admired his gentle nature. When winter arrived, Pip had more than enough food to last through the cold months. He spent his days warm in his nest, dreaming of the spring. He knew his friends were safe and happy too. When spring came, the park was filled with new life. Pip was excited to explore, play, and help his friends. He continued to live happily in the park, forever the cute squirrel who brought joy and harmony to everyone around him. He knew that as long as they worked together, they would always have enough. In a lush, magical kingdom where animals could talk, lived Princess Leona, a graceful lioness, whose beauty was only rivaled by her compassion. Though her golden fur shimmered like the sun, it was her heart that truly glowed. Here are 15 hidden and surprising facts about Princess Leona that will leave you in awe of her kindness and connection to the animal world. Leona could communicate with every species. Unlike others, she didn't just speak, she understood every nuance of an animal's emotions, bridging gaps between prey and predator. Her crown was enchanted with moonstone. It allowed her to summon light during dark times, not for battle, but to guide the lost. She saved an endangered phoenix. By protecting the rare firebird, she ensured balance in the ecosystem of her kingdom. Leona's lullabies calmed storms. Her voice was said to soothe the winds and waves, saving countless lives. She planted the first tree of eternity. This magical tree bore fruits that healed both physical wounds and broken hearts. Her royal decree banned hunting for sport. Instead, she created wildlife sanctuaries where harmony thrived. Leona taught predators compassion. By sharing food with herbivores during harsh winters, she inspired unity across species. Her palace was made from eco-friendly materials. The design, by birds and beavers, preserved the forest's natural beauty. The river sang when she bathed. Her presence in water emitted vibrations that brought life to aquatic creatures. Leona saved a dying starfish. By reuniting it with its family, she revived the ocean's magic. A shy elephant composed a song for her. It's now the anthem of the animal kingdom, symbolizing peace. She had a mysterious ability to grow rare flowers. These blossoms emitted fragrances that cured sadness. Leona celebrated a festival of coexistence. This annual event united all species in dance, feasting, and storytelling. Her shadow shielded small animals. Even her silhouette provided comfort to those in danger. Leona chose love over power. When faced with a chance to conquer other lands, she instead spread her philosophy of kindness and shared her resources. Sammy the snail lived in a small garden, a world of towering grass blades and vast flower petals. His days were slow, measured by the progress of his glistening trail. One day, Sammy decided to embark on a grand journey, to reach the old oak tree at the far end of the garden. His friends chuckled. It was a daunting distance for a snail. Undeterred, Sammy set off, his tiny muscles straining with each deliberate movement. The journey was filled with challenges. He had to navigate around prickly thorns, cross a rushing stream, a mere trickle to humans, but a raging river to Sammy, and endure the scorching midday sun. He met other creatures along the way. A wise old beetle who offered encouragement, a grumpy ladybug who grumbled about his slow pace, and a family of busy ants who barely noticed him. There were moments of despair when Sammy felt like giving up. The distance seemed endless, the sun relentless. But he remembered his goal, the majestic oak tree, and pressed on. He used his slime trail to climb steep blades of grass, and he took shelter under large leaves during the hottest parts of the day. The journey tested his resilience, his determination, and his patience. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, Sammy reached the oak tree. He was exhausted, but triumphant. He had accomplished what many said was impossible for a snail. He rested beneath the shade of the ancient tree, its strong branches a comforting presence. From his vantage point, he could see the whole garden, a miniature world he had conquered with his slow, steady pace. The journey back was much easier, filled with a newfound confidence. Sammy wasn't just a snail who had reached an oak tree. He was Sammy, the snail who had proven that slow and steady wins the race. He returned to his friends, a hero in his own eyes, his tale a testament to the power of perseverance. The adventurous dolphin. In the sparkling blue waters of Coral Cove, there lived a young and curious dolphin named Dax. Dax was unlike the other dolphins in his pod. While most of them were content playing games or leaping through the waves, Dax always dreamed of exploring the vast ocean beyond the reef. Stories of shipwrecks, hidden treasures, and mysterious creatures filled his imagination, and he longed for adventures of his own. One sunny morning, as the golden rays of the sun danced on the water, Dax made a decision. "Today is the day I'll explore what lies beyond the cove," he announced to his best friend, Luna. "Are you sure, Dax?" Luna asked, her voice filled with concern. "The ocean is big and full of dangers. What if you get lost?" With a flick of his tail, Dax swam out of Coral Cove and into the unknown. The water felt different beyond the reef, deeper, colder, and filled with a quiet hum. As Dax ventured farther, he encountered schools of shimmering fish that moved like silver clouds, forests of towering kelp that swayed in the currents, and a friendly sea turtle named Tito who shared stories of faraway places. If you're looking for adventure, you should visit the sunken caverns, Tito suggested. They say it's filled with glowing crystals and hidden treasures. Dax's eyes lit up. That sounds amazing. Where can I find it? Tito pointed a flipper toward the horizon. Follow the current east and you'll find it, but be careful. It's easy to lose your way in the caverns. Thanking Tito, Dax swam toward the sunken caverns, excitement bubbling inside him. When he arrived, the sight took his breath away. The caverns glowed with the light of crystals embedded in the walls, casting shimmering reflections all around. Dax explored every nook and cranny, marveling at the beauty. He even found an old chest filled with sparkling shells and coins, likely from a long-forgotten shipwreck. But as Dax admired his discovery, he felt a sudden shift in the water. A shadow passed over the cavern entrance. Turning around, he saw a large octopus with piercing eyes watching him. "What are you doing in my home?" the octopus asked, its voice deep and rumbling. "I'm sorry," Dax said quickly. "I didn't know this was your home. I was just exploring." Dax smiled nervously. "I just wanted to see what was beyond Coral Cove. The ocean is so big and beautiful." "I will," Dax promised. When Dax returned to Coral Cove, he shared his adventures with Luna and the rest of the pod. They listened with wide eyes as he described the glowing caverns, the treasure, and the wise octopus. From that day on, Dax became known as the most adventurous dolphin in Coral Cove, inspiring others to explore, dream, and cherish the wonders of the ocean. The Adventurous Horse. Once upon a time, in a quiet little farm nestled between rolling green hills, lived a young horse named Thunder. Unlike the other horses who were content with grazing in the fields, Thunder had a heart filled with curiosity and adventure. He dreamed of galloping through vast meadows, climbing tall mountains, and even swimming in the great blue ocean. One day, as Thunder watched the birds soar high above, he decided he would go on an adventure of his own. He had heard tales of a magical meadow beyond the hills where the grass was golden, the air smelled like sweet honey, and a sparkling river sang the most beautiful lullabies. Determined to find this special place, Thunder set off just as the sun peeked over the horizon. His journey began with excitement. He trotted past the farm's fences, across the familiar green pastures, and into the unknown. As he reached the edge of the forest, he met a wise old owl perched on a low branch. "Where are you off to in such a hurry, young one?" the owl asked. "I'm searching for the magical meadow," Thunder neighed proudly. The owl nodded. "The road ahead is not easy, but remember, true adventure comes with challenges. Be brave, be kind, and always listen to your heart." Thunder thanked the owl and continued on. Soon, he arrived at a rushing river, its water glistening in the morning sun. A narrow bridge stretched across it, but just as Thunder stepped forward, he heard a tiny voice cry out, "Help! My little paws are stuck." Thunder looked down and saw a small rabbit trapped between the wooden planks of the bridge. Carefully, he used his strong teeth to lift the plank, freeing the frightened rabbit. "Thank you, kind horse," the rabbit squeaked. "Let me guide you across the safest path." With the rabbit's help, Thunder made it across the river. He continued on, feeling proud of his kindness. As the sun climbed higher, Thunder reached the base of a steep hill. The path was rocky and difficult, but he pushed forward. Just when he thought he couldn't go any farther, he heard a cheerful humming. An old turtle, carrying a tiny bundle of berries on his back, smiled at him. "Why the long face, young horse?" "I'm trying to reach the magical meadow, but this hill is so hard to climb," the turtle chuckled. "One step at a time, my friend. Every journey takes patience." Taking the turtle's advice, Thunder climbed slowly but steadily. Step by step, he made it to the top. And there, stretching before him, was the most beautiful meadow he had ever seen. The golden grass swayed in the breeze, the air was sweet, and a crystal blue river sang a soothing song. Thunder neighed joyfully. He had done it. But as he stood in the magical meadow, he realized something important. This adventure wasn't just about finding this place. It was about the journey, the friends he had met, and the lessons he had learned. The cheerful little fish. In the shimmering blue waters of the ocean, where sunlight danced on the waves, lived a little fish named Bubbles. Bubbles was the happiest fish in the sea. He loved to swim, explore, and most of all, spread joy to everyone he met. Each morning, Bubbles greeted the ocean creatures with a big smile. "Good morning, Mr. Crab," he chirped. "Hello, starfish," he called as he swam past. Every creature in the ocean loved Bubbles because his happiness was contagious. One day, while Bubbles was swimming near a coral reef, he saw a grumpy-looking octopus named Oliver. Oliver sat alone, his tentacles curled up tightly. "Hello, Oliver," Bubbles said with a friendly wave. "Why do you look so sad?" "I'm not sad," Oliver huffed. "I just don't see a reason to smile." Bubbles thought for a moment. "Then let's find a reason together." He led Oliver on an adventure through the ocean. They swam through swaying seaweed, played hide and seek with a school of fish, and even raced a playful dolphin. Slowly, Oliver's frown began to fade. He even let out a small chuckle when a tiny seahorse tickled his tentacle. At the end of the day, Oliver turned to Bubbles. "You know what? Today was fun." Bubbles grinned. "See? There's always a reason to smile." From that day on, Oliver wasn't so grumpy anymore. And whenever he felt down, he remembered Bubbles' cheerful spirit and found something to smile about. Bubbles continued spreading happiness wherever he went, proving that even the smallest fish could make the biggest difference just by being kind. The Clever Panda Cook. In the middle of a beautiful bamboo forest, where the trees swayed gently in the wind, lived a panda named Bao. Bao wasn't just any panda, was the best cook in the whole forest. While other pandas loved to munch on plain bamboo, Bao dreamed of making delicious meals that all the animals could enjoy. One day, the Great Forest Festival was announced. Every animal had to bring a special dish to share. Excited, Bao decided to create a brand new recipe, something that would surprise everyone. "I'll make the most delicious bamboo dumplings," he declared. Bao gathered the freshest bamboo shoots, soft rice flour, and sweet honey. But as he started cooking, a mischievous monkey swung by and knocked over his basket of ingredients. "Oh no!" Bao gasped as the flour scattered all over the ground. "I'm so sorry, Bao," the monkey said. "Can I help?" Bao thought for a moment. "Yes, you can mix the dough while I gather more bamboo shoots." As Bao and the monkey worked together, a squirrel scurried up. "That smells yummy. Can I help too?" "Of course," Bao smiled. "You can shape the dumplings." Soon, a parrot flew down. "What a wonderful feast. Can I add some spices?" With each friend helping, Bao's dumplings became even better. When they were finally ready, Bao carefully steamed them over a warm fire. The sweet, delicious smell filled the air. At the festival, Bao placed his dumplings on the grand table. As the animals took their first bite, their eyes widened with joy. "These are amazing," the elephant cheered. "So soft and tasty?" the rabbits giggled. Queen Owl, the wisest animal in the forest, nodded with approval. "Bao, you have not only made a wonderful dish, but you also showed us that cooking is best when done together." Bao beamed with pride. He realized that the secret ingredient to his perfect dumplings wasn't just bamboo or honey, it was friendship. From that day on, Bao became the most beloved cook in the forest, sharing his meals and his kindness with everyone. Once upon a time, in a lush green forest, lived a tiny bird named Pip. Pip was known for his bright blue feathers and cheerful songs. Every morning, Pip would wake up with the sun and start chirping melodies that filled the entire forest. One sunny day, while exploring, Pip stumbled upon a sparkling stream. He had never seen anything so beautiful. He decided to take a bath, splashing water all over. Suddenly, he noticed a little butterfly struggling in the water. Without hesitation, Pip flew down and gently pulled the butterfly out. The butterfly, whose name was Luna, was very grateful. Luna and Pip became the best of friends. They spent their days together exploring the forest and singing songs. One day, a big storm came and the wind was howling. Pip and Luna took shelter in a big tree. The storm was so strong that it uprooted the tree. Pip and Luna were scared, but they held each other. They found a new home in a cozy hollow of another tree. They continued their life, singing and dancing. They were a symbol of friendship and courage. They learned that even the smallest of creatures can make a big difference. The forest was always filled with their joy. They were loved by everyone in the forest. Pip and Luna continued to have lots of adventures. They helped many other animals. Pip and Luna showed that friendship is the most precious treasure. They continued to sing, bringing joy to the forest every day. Their story was a reminder that even the smallest of creatures could make a big difference. The Dreaming Mouse. In a small cozy hole under the roots of a giant oak tree lived a tiny mouse named Milo. Unlike the other mice, who were happy to scurry around collecting crumbs, Milo was a dreamer. Every night, as he curled up in his soft bed of leaves, he dreamed of exploring the world beyond the meadow. "I want to see the mountains, the rivers, and the sky full of stars," Milo would say. But the other mice would laugh. "You're too small, Milo. The world is too big for a tiny mouse like you." But Milo didn't listen. He believed that even a small mouse could have big dreams. One bright morning, he made up his mind he would set out on an adventure. Packing a tiny satchel with a few sunflower seeds, Milo took a deep breath and scurried beyond the oak tree for the very first time. As he ventured into the unknown, Milo found himself in a beautiful field filled with colorful flowers. He took in the scent of fresh petals and smiled. "This is just like I imagined," he squeaked happily. But soon, a loud buzzing sound filled the air. A big bumblebee was struggling in a spider's web, its tiny wings stuck in the sticky threads. "Help! I can't get free!" the bee cried. Milo knew he had to do something. Using his tiny teeth, he carefully nibbled at the web until the bee was free. "Thank you, Milo," the bee buzzed. "You may be small, but your kindness is mighty. If you ever need help, just call for me." Feeling proud, Milo continued his journey. As the day passed, Milo reached a wide river. The water was deep, and there was no way for a little mouse to cross. Just then, he heard a croaky voice. "Need a ride?" It was a friendly frog sitting on a lily pad. "Yes, please," Milo said. The frog gave Milo a ride across the river, hopping from pad to pad. When they reached the other side, Milo thanked his new friend and hurried along. At last, as the sun began to set, Milo climbed to the top of a small hill. Before him stretched rolling meadows, tall mountains in the distance, and a sky painted in golden hues. It was more beautiful than he had ever dreamed. "I did it," Milo cheered. As he lay on the soft grass, watching the stars appear one by one, he realized something important: dreams are not just for sleeping. They are meant to be chased, no matter how small you are. And from that day on, Milo was no longer just a dreaming mouse. He was an adventurer. The epic tale of a future king. Leo the Brave. In the heart of the vast African savanna, there was a young lion cub named Leo. From the moment he could walk, Leo dreamed of becoming a strong and wise king like his father, King Asani. But he was still small, and the other animals often told him he had a lot to learn before he could lead the pride. One day, as Leo played near the watering hole, a frightened gazelle rushed toward him. "Leo, there's danger ahead! A pack of hyenas has entered the territory!" Leo's heart pounded. The hyenas were known for causing trouble, and he had never faced such a challenge before. He knew his father would usually handle such threats, but King Asani and the other lions were away on a hunt. Leo took a deep breath and stood tall. "I have to protect my home," he thought. Summoning his courage, Leo gathered the other young animals of the savannah. "We must work together," he said. "We can't let the hyenas take over our land." The animals hesitated, but Leo's determination inspired them. The clever monkeys swung through the trees, dropping fruit near the hyenas to distract them. The elephants formed a protective wall near the watering hole, making it clear that the hyenas were not welcome. Leo himself stood at the front, letting out the loudest roar he could manage. Surprised by the unity and strength of the young animals, the hyenas hesitated. Just as they were deciding whether to retreat, King Asani and the Pride returned. Seeing his son leading the animals with bravery, King Asani roared mightily, sending the hyenas fleeing into the distance. After the danger had passed, King Asani approached Leo. "You have shown courage, leadership, and wisdom beyond your years," he said proudly. "A true king does not rule with fear, but with strength, kindness, and unity. One day, you will make a great leader." Leo beamed with pride. He had proven to himself and to everyone that even the smallest lion could have the heart of a king. From that day forward, he continued to grow stronger and wiser, preparing for the day he would take his place as king of the savannah. The four cubs. Deep in the heart of the jungle, where the trees stood tall and rivers sparkled in the sun, lived a lioness named Laya. She was strong, wise, and most of all, a loving mother to her four cubs: Leo, Timmy, Zuri, and Koda. Each cub was different, but they all shared a big, adventurous spirit. One bright morning, Leia gathered her cubs. "Today," she said, "you will go on a special adventure to learn an important lesson about yourselves." Excited, the four cubs set off into the jungle together. As they walked, they came to a wide river. The water rushed fast, and the cubs hesitated. Leo, the bravest, stepped forward. "I will jump across," he declared. With a powerful leap, he made it to the other side. "Wow!" Timmy gasped. "Leo, you are so strong!" Timmy, the clever one, looked around. "I'll find another way." He spotted a fallen tree nearby and led Zuri and Koda across safely. Next, the cubs reached a rocky hill. The path was steep, and their paws slipped on the stones. "I will help," Zuri said. She was the kindest of the cubs. Carefully, she guided her brothers up, making sure no one was left behind. Finally, they entered a dark part of the jungle. Strange noises echoed around them, and the cubs felt nervous. "I don't like this," Koda whispered. "Me neither," Leo admitted. But Koda, the most patient of them all, took a deep breath. "Let's stick together," he said calmly. "If we walk slowly, we'll be fine." The cubs followed Koda's advice, and soon, they found themselves back in the sunny part of the jungle. When they returned home, Leia was waiting for them. "What did you learn today?" she asked. Leo puffed out his chest. "I learned that I am strong." Timmy grinned. "I am clever." Zuri smiled. "I have kindness in my heart." Koda nodded. "And I have patience." Leia beamed with pride. "Each of you is special in your own way, and when you work together, you are unstoppable." The four cubs curled up beside their mother, feeling proud and loved. They knew that, no matter what, they would always be stronger together. The friendly dragon of Dreamland. In the magical land of Dreamland, where the sky shimmered with endless hues of purple and gold, there lived a dragon unlike any other. His name was Drayton, and he was not a fierce dragon as one might expect. Instead, Drayton was known for his kind heart, sparkling blue scales, and the warm glow of his golden eyes. He had a unique gift. He could bring dreams to life with a single puff of his magical breath. Every night, as the moon cast its gentle light over Dreamland, the villagers gathered around Drayton's cave, eager to share their dreams. Children wished for adventures, farmers dreamed of abundant harvests, and artists imagined wondrous creations. Drayton listened carefully, then with a gentle puff of his magical breath, he turned their dreams into beautiful, glowing orbs that floated into the sky, filling Dreamland with light and hope. One evening, a little girl named Mia arrived at the cave. She had bright, curious eyes and a heart full of wonder. But unlike the others, Mia didn't have a dream to share. "Drayton," she said softly, "I don't know what my dream is. Can you help me find it?" Drayton's golden eyes sparkled with warmth. "Of course, Mia," he said. "Sometimes dreams are like hidden treasures. Let's go on an adventure to discover yours." With a gentle flap of his wings, Drayton invited Mia to climb onto his back. Together, they soared through the starry sky, visiting the many wonders of Dreamland. They flew over the rainbow falls, where streams of liquid light cascaded into pools of shimmering colors. They explored the forest of whispers, where the trees shared ancient stories in hushed tones. And they visited the cloud gardens, where flowers made of mist bloomed in the air. Drayton, Mia said, as they rested on a hill overlooking dreamland. I think I know what my dream is now. I want to help others find happiness, just like you do. Drayton smiled, his golden eyes shining brighter than ever. That is a beautiful dream, Mia. Let's bring it to life. With a gentle puff of his magical breath, Drayton created a glowing orb that shimmered with all the colors of the rainbow. It floated above Mia, filling her with warmth and a sense of purpose. From that day on, Mia became known as the Dream Helper. With Drayton by her side, she traveled across dreamland, spreading joy and helping others discover their dreams. The villagers adored Mia and Drayton, and together they made dreamland an even brighter, more magical place. And though their adventures continued, one thing remained certain. The friendly dragon of dreamland and the little girl with a heart full of wonder were a perfect team, reminding everyone that dreams could come true with kindness, courage, and a little magic. In the heart of the African savanna lived a young gazelle named Glimmer. She was known for her gentle nature and graceful movements. Unlike the other gazelles, Glimmer preferred exploring the quiet corners of the savanna. One day, while wandering, she stumbled upon a hidden oasis. The water was crystal clear and surrounded by lush green plants. Glimmer was amazed by the beauty of the secret place. Soon, she noticed a small group of birds with injured wings. They were unable to fly and looked weak and hungry. Glimmer, with her kind heart, decided to help them. She spent her days bringing them fresh leaves and water. She would also sing soft melodies to soothe their pain. The birds grew stronger, and their wings started to heal. One sunny morning, the birds were finally able to fly again. They soared into the sky, chirping happily. Glimmer watched them with a heart full of joy. She felt grateful for the opportunity to help. Word of Glimmer's kindness spread throughout the savanna. Other animals began to seek her help and advice. Glimmer continued to be a gentle and compassionate soul, always ready to help those in need. She learned that true strength lies not in power, but in kindness and generosity. Her story became a legend, reminding everyone of the power of a gentle heart. The savanna was a better place because of Glimmer. Deep in the heart of the savanna, under the vast open skies and amidst the golden grasses, there was a legend whispered among the animals. The tale of the golden gazelle. It was said that this mythical creature, with a coat that shimmered like sunlight and eyes that glowed like amber, held the secret to eternal harmony in the wild. Many doubted its existence, dismissing it as a story to entertain young ones, but there were those who believed and dreamed of uncovering the truth. Among the believers was a curious young gazelle named Aaron. He was different from the others in his herd, always asking questions and exploring far beyond their usual grazing grounds. Aaron had heard the story of the golden gazelle from his grandmother, who claimed to have seen it once as a fawn. 6. Its beauty was unmatched, she had said, and its presence brought a peace so profound that even the lions and cheetahs bowed their heads in respect. One fateful evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, Aaron stumbled upon an old tortoise named Copa. Copa was known as the keeper of stories and wisdom. "Tell me about the golden gazelle," Aaron pleaded. The tortoise chuckled, his voice raspy yet warm. "Ah, the golden gazelle. Many seek it, but few understand its true nature. It's not just a creature, young one, it's a lesson, a guide. To find it, you must be brave, clever, and pure of heart." Aaron's heart raced. "Where do I begin?" Copa pointed with a wrinkled claw toward the distant mountains. "Follow the rising sun until you reach the whispering trees. There, you will find the first clue." Determined, Aaron set off at dawn, his hooves kicking up dust as he bounded toward the unknown. The journey was perilous. He had to outwit a pack of hyenas, cross a roaring river, and navigate through a dense forest where shadows played tricks on his mind. But Aaron's resolve never wavered. At last, he reached the whispering trees, an ancient grove where the wind seemed to carry voices. As he rested beneath a towering baobab, a soft, melodic voice spoke. "Why do you seek the golden gazelle?" Startled but unafraid, Aaron replied, "To understand its secret and bring peace to the savannah." "Then you must prove your worth," the voice said. Suddenly, 3 challenges appeared before him: a wide chasm he had to leap, a riddle carved into a stone, and a path blocked by thick vines. Aaron faced each challenge with courage and cleverness. He leaped the chasm with grace, solved the riddle. What runs but never walks? A river, and used his sharp hooves to clear the vines. With each success, the grove seemed to glow brighter. Finally, as the last vine fell away, a dazzling light emerged. There, standing amidst the golden glow, was the golden gazelle. Its coat shimmered as though woven from sunlight, and its eyes held the wisdom of ages. Aaron bowed his head in awe. "What is your secret?" he whispered. In a forest filled with towering trees, there lived a fox named Finley. Unlike the other foxes, Finley had a heart full of kindness. One day, Finley found a small bird with a broken wing. He gently picked up the bird and took it to his den. He cared for the bird, bringing it berries and water. Days turned into weeks, and the bird's wing slowly healed. Finley and the bird became the best of friends. One sunny morning, the bird was strong enough to fly. It circled Finley's head, chirping happily, before soaring into the sky. Finley watched it go, a warm feeling in his heart. He was happy to have helped. Soon after, a storm raged through the forest. The animals were scared and needed shelter. Remembering Finley's kindness, they all sought refuge in his den. Finley opened his home to all, sharing his food and warmth. The animals were amazed by his generosity. The storm passed, and the animals thanked Finley for his help. From that day on, the forest creatures knew Finley as the kind fox, and his den was always a safe place. He continued to help anyone in need, proving that kindness always returns. Once upon a time, in the heart of a sprawling savanna, there lived a gentle gazelle named Nia. Nia was known far and wide, not just for her grace and speed, but for her kindness. She had a knack for making friends with animals of all shapes and sizes, from the tiniest ants to the mighty elephants. Her herd often teased her, saying, "Nia, you're too soft. The savannah is a harsh place. Kindness won't protect you." But Nia believed otherwise. She felt that kindness had a power all its own. One sunny morning, as the herd grazed by a sparkling stream, Nia heard a faint rustling nearby. Following the sound, she found a young meerkat trapped under a fallen branch. "Oh no, are you all right?" Nia asked gently. The meerkat, whose name was Timo, looked up with teary eyes. "I'm stuck. Please help me." Without hesitation, Nia used her nimble hooves to push the branch away. "There you go," she said with a warm smile. Timo hopped up and brushed himself off. "Thank you. I owe you one," he said, scampering back to his burrow. Word of Nia's kindness spread quickly. Soon, animals began approaching her for help. One day, a zebra named Zuri came to her in distress. "Nia, my foal has wandered into the tall grass and I can't find him. Can you help?" Nia didn't think twice. "Of course, Zuri. Let's search together." With her sharp eyes and swift legs, Nia found the foal tangled in vines and guided him safely back to Zuri. "Thank you, Nia. I'll never forget this," Zuri said, her voice filled with gratitude. As time went on, Nia's circle of friends grew. There was Kofi the curious tortoise, who loved to share stories. Amani the shy giraffe, who trusted Nia to keep her secrets, and even Jabari the mischievous monkey, who often played harmless pranks but respected Nia deeply. One day, a crisis struck the savannah. A fierce wildfire broke out, spreading rapidly through the dry grasslands. Animals panicked, fleeing in every direction. Nia, however, remained calm. She called out to her friends, "We need to work together to help everyone reach safety." Timo and his meerkat clan dug escape tunnels for the smaller animals. Zuri and the zebras used their strength to carry the injured. Amani led a group of animals to a hidden grove she knew of, far from the fire's reach. Even Jabari swung through the trees, warning others of the danger. Nia tirelessly coordinated their efforts, ensuring no one was left behind. When the fire finally subsided, the animals gathered in the grove, exhausted but safe. They looked to Nia with admiration. "Nia," Zuri said, "your kindness saved us all. You brought us together when we needed it most." Nia smiled, her heart full. "We each played a part. Kindness isn't just about helping others, it's about bringing out the best in everyone." From that day on, the animals of the savannah lived in harmony, united by the bond they shared. And though Nia never sought recognition, she became a legend, known as the kind gazelle who showed everyone that, once upon a time, in a bamboo forest, lived a little panda named Pip. Pip was very round and fluffy, with big, curious eyes. He loved to eat bamboo, and he spent most of his days munching on the green shoots. One sunny morning, Pip found a bright red ball. He had never seen anything like it before. Pip pushed the ball with his nose, and it rolled away. He chased it, giggling as it bounced through the forest. The ball rolled near a small stream. Pip tried to reach it, but he slipped and fell into the water. The stream was cold, and Pip was very surprised. He struggled to get out but couldn't reach the bank. Suddenly, a big panda named Mama showed up. Mama gently pulled Pip out of the stream. She wrapped him in her warm fur. Pip was safe and happy to be with his mama. Mama showed Pip how to play with the ball without falling into the water. They spent the rest of the day playing together. Pip learned that even when things are scary, there is always someone to help. As the sun set, Pip snuggled close to Mama. He dreamed of red balls and gentle streams, and he was very thankful for his family. He knew that he would always be safe and loved in the bamboo forest. Pip looked forward to more adventures with Mama. The next day, Pip woke up with a smile. He went to find his red ball again. He and Mama played until they were tired. Pip learned to be careful near the stream. He always remembered the day he fell in and how Mama rescued him. He was a happy panda, living in a loving home. Every day was a new adventure for Pip and his mama. The blue whale, king of the oceans. Deep in the endless blue ocean, where waves shimmered under the sun and fish danced in schools, lived a magnificent blue whale named Orion. He was the largest creature in the sea, with a voice that echoed for miles. All the ocean animals called him the king of the oceans. But despite his size and title, Orion did not feel like a king. "What makes me special?" he often wondered. "I am big, but what else?" One day, a tiny seahorse named Luma swam up to him. "King Orion! King Orion! A terrible storm is coming, and many sea creatures don't know where to go." Orion looked around. Dark clouds gathered above, and strong currents swirled below. He had to do something. Using his deep, powerful voice, Orion called out, "Follow me, friends! I will lead you to safety." The turtles, dolphins, and fish all listened, swimming in the direction of his call. Orion guided them to a deep underwater cave, where the waves could not reach. As the storm raged outside, the sea creatures huddled together, safe and sound. "Thank you, Orion," a wise old turtle said. "Your voice saved us." Orion blinked. He had never thought of his voice as powerful before. Once the storm passed, Orion continued his journey through the sea. Along the way, he met a young octopus tangled in a fishing net. "Don't worry," Orion said gently. Using his great strength, he tugged at the net until it loosened, freeing the octopus. "Thank you, King Orion," the octopus cheered. Orion smiled. Maybe his strength wasn't just in his size, it was in helping others. Later, he came across a sad little dolphin. "What's wrong?" Orion asked. "I can't find my way home," the dolphin sniffed. Orion thought for a moment. Then, he sang a soft, low song that traveled far through the water. Soon, another dolphin answered back. "That's my family," the little dolphin squealed. You helped me find them." That night, as Orion swam under the glowing moon, he realized something important. A king isn't just big. A king is someone who helps, protects, and cares for others. Orion no longer wondered what made him special, he knew. And from that day on, he ruled not with power, but with kindness, guiding the ocean with his heart. Why everyone loves Leo the Brave? Leo the Brave was not just any lion, he was a symbol of courage, determination, and kindness. From the moment he led his pride to the hidden oasis, he became an inspiration to all the animals of the savannah. But what made Leo truly special wasn't just his bravery, it was the way he cared for others, and always put his family and friends before himself. Leo never let his small size define him. Instead, he used his sharp mind and fearless heart to solve problems that even the strongest lions couldn't. Whenever a challenge arose, Leo was the first to step forward, offering his help with a confident smile. Whether it was guiding lost cubs back home, standing up to those who doubted him, or finding new ways to ensure the pride thrived, Leo proved time and again that true strength comes from within. His acts of kindness extended beyond his pride. Leo formed friendships with animals of all kinds, from the shy meerkats to the wise elephants. He listened to their worries, shared his wisdom, and always reminded them that no one was too small to make a difference. The savannah flourished under his leadership, and his name became known far and wide. Even as he grew older, Leo never lost his adventurous spirit. He continued to explore, learn, and teach others the lessons he had gained throughout his journey. The younger lions looked up to him, dreaming of becoming as brave and wise as their beloved leader. And so, the legend of Leo the Brave lived on, not just in the hearts of his pride, but in the spirit of every creature who had ever met him. Because in the end, it wasn't just his courage that made everyone love him, it was the way he made the world a better place for all. The lion cub, who became king. In the heart of the vast African savanna, there lived a curious and playful lion cub named Leo. He was the youngest in his pride and spent his days chasing butterflies, practicing his roars, and dreaming about adventure. But Leo never imagined that one day he would become the king of the jungle. Leo's father, King Simba, was a wise and noble lion who ruled over the savannah with fairness and strength. Simba often told Leo, "A true king isn't just strong, he must be brave, kind, and wise." Leo listened to his father's words, but he felt small and unsure of himself. How could I ever be like him? He wondered. One day, a terrible drought struck the savannah. The rivers dried up, the grass turned brown, and the animals began to struggle. The pride was worried, and even King Simba didn't have all the answers. "We must find water," he said, "or many of us will not survive." Leo overheard the adults talking and decided he had to help. He remembered an old tale his grandmother had told him about a hidden waterhole deep in the forbidden forest. Though the forest was said to be dangerous, Leo's heart was set on finding the waterhole and saving his pride. Early the next morning, before anyone else was awake, Leo set off on his journey. The forbidden forest was dark and filled with strange sounds, but Leo kept going. Along the way, he encountered other animals who were also in need. A thirsty gazelle, a frightened meerkat, and a tired zebra all joined Leo, hoping he would lead them to water. As they traveled deeper into the forest, they faced many challenges. A fallen tree blocked their path, but Leo's quick thinking helped them find a way around it. A swarm of buzzing insects tried to scare them away, but Leo's courage kept the group moving. With each obstacle, Leo grew braver and more confident. Finally, after a long journey, they reached a clearing where sunlight streamed down onto a sparkling waterhole. The animals cheered, and Leo's heart swelled with pride. "We found it!" he exclaimed. The animals drank deeply, their strength returning, and Leo felt a sense of accomplishment he had never known before. When Leo and his new friends returned to the savannah with news of the waterhole, the pride was overjoyed. King Simba looked at his son with admiration. "You showed bravery, kindness, and wisdom," he said. "You've proven that you have the heart of a true king." From that day on, Leo became a hero in the eyes of the pride and all the animals of the savannah. And when the time came for Simba to step down, Leo was ready to take his place as king. He ruled with the same courage, kindness, and wisdom he had shown on his journey, ensuring that the savannah remained a safe and thriving home for everyone. Leo had learned that being a king wasn't about being the biggest or the strongest. It was about caring for others, facing challenges with courage, and never giving up. The lioness, who will rule the jungle. Deep in the heart of the jungle, where the trees stretched high into the sky and the rivers shimmered under the golden sun, lived a young lioness named Zuri. She was strong, quick, and full of energy, but most of all, she had a dream to become the queen of the jungle one day. Zuri's mother, Queen Sophia, was the current ruler. She was wise and respected by all the animals. But ruling the jungle wasn't just about being strong, it was about being fair, kind, and brave. Zuri knew she had a lot to learn, and she was eager to prove herself. One morning, her mother gave her an important task. To be a great ruler, you must understand the needs of all creatures, Queen Sophia said. Today, I want you to go on a journey through the jungle and help those in need. Excited, Zuri set off with her tail high and her heart full of determination. As she walked through the thick jungle, she heard a loud chattering noise. It was a group of monkeys gathered around a tall tree, looking worried. "Our little brother is stuck on a high branch and he's too scared to climb down," cried an older monkey. Zuri looked up and saw a tiny monkey clinging to a branch, shaking with fear. Carefully, she climbed the tree, her sharp claws digging into the bark. Step by step, she made her way to the little monkey. "Don't be afraid," she said gently. "I'll help you down." With slow and steady movements, Zuri guided the little monkey safely back to his family. The monkeys cheered, and the little one hugged her paw. "Thank you, Zuri. You are so kind and brave." Feeling proud, Zuri continued her journey. Further into the jungle, she found a narrow river where an old elephant stood, looking troubled. "What's wrong, Grandfather Elephant?" Zuri asked. "The bridge across the river has broken, and I cannot cross to find food," he sighed. Zuri thought for a moment. She noticed large stones nearby, and had an idea. She pushed them into the river, one by one, until they formed a sturdy path. "Now you can cross safely," she said with a smile. The elephant stepped across and trumpeted with joy. "You are wise beyond your years, young Zuri. One day you will make a great queen." As the sun began to set, Zuri made her way home. She had helped others, used her courage and wisdom, and shown kindness to all. Queen Sophia greeted her with a proud smile. "You have shown today that a true ruler does not seek power, but serves with heart. One day, my dear, you will be ready to rule the jungle." Zuri smiled, knowing that her greatest adventure was only just beginning. The little elephant. In the heart of the great African savanna, where golden grass stretched far and wide, lived a little elephant named Keto. He was the youngest in his herd, with big floppy ears and a curious heart. Keto loved to ask questions. Why is the sky blue? Why do birds sing? Why do the stars twinkle? The older elephants would smile and say, "You'll understand when you grow up, Keto." But Keto didn't want to wait, wanted to explore and find the answers himself. One morning, while the herd was resting near the river, Keto saw a bright blue butterfly flutter past him. "I will follow it and find out where butterflies go," he thought excitedly. Without thinking, Keto wandered away from his family, chasing the butterfly as it danced through the air. Soon, he found himself in an unfamiliar part of the savannah. The trees were taller, the grass was thicker, and the sounds were different. Keto suddenly felt small. "Oh no, I don't know the way back." Trying to be brave, he kept walking. That's when he heard a rustling noise in the bushes. He froze. Was it a lion? A cheetah? To his relief, a friendly meerkat popped out. "Why the worried face, little elephant?" "I got lost," Keto admitted. "I was chasing a butterfly." The meerkat chuckled. "A little adventure, huh? Don't worry, I know the way back to the river. Follow me." Grateful, Quito followed the tiny meerkat as they made their way through the tall grass. Along the way, they met a giraffe, who was stretching her long neck to eat leaves from the tallest tree. "Hello, little one," the giraffe greeted. "What brings you here?" "I got lost while chasing a butterfly," Quito said. The giraffe smiled. "Even small adventures can teach big lessons. You must always know your way home before you wander too far." Quito nodded. He had learned that lesson well. Finally, with the meerkat leading the way, Quito saw the familiar river where his family was waiting. "Quito!" his mother called, rushing toward him. "We were so worried." "I'm sorry, Mama," Quito said, lowering his head. "I just wanted to explore." His mother nuzzled him gently. "It's good to be curious, my dear. But always remember adventure is wonderful, but knowing your way home is even more important." Quito smiled, feeling warm inside. From that day on, he still asked questions and explored, but he always made sure to stay close to his family. And every time he saw a butterfly, he would laugh and remember the little adventure that taught him such a big lesson. The little shark. Deep in the sparkling blue ocean, where colorful fish swam and coral reefs glowed, lived a little shark named Finn. Unlike the big, strong sharks in his family, Finn was small and not very scary. While other sharks swam powerfully and hunted with ease, Finn loved to explore and play. One day, Finn overheard two big sharks talking. "A shark must be strong and fierce," one said. "Yes," the other agreed. "That's the only way to survive in the ocean." Finn frowned. "But what if I'm not fierce?" he thought. "Can I still be important?" Determined to prove himself, Finn decided to do something brave. He would swim to the deepest part of the ocean, a place where only the strongest creatures dared to go. As he swam farther, the ocean grew darker, and strange creatures with glowing bodies appeared. Finn felt a little scared but kept going. Suddenly, he heard a cry for help. "Help! Someone please!" Finn followed the voice and found a small fish trapped between two rocks. The fish wiggled, but he couldn't escape. "I'll help you," Finn said. Finn tried pushing the rocks with his snout, but they wouldn't move. He needed a different plan. Then he remembered something's sharp little teeth. Carefully, Finn nibbled at a piece of seaweed wrapped around the rocks. Little by little, the seaweed loosened, and the rocks shifted just enough for the fish to wiggle free. "You did it," the fish cheered. "Thank you, Finn." Finn felt a warm happiness in his heart. Maybe he wasn't the biggest or the strongest, but he was clever and kind. When he returned home, the big sharks were curious. "Where did you go, Finn?" "To the deep ocean," Finn said proudly. "And I saved a fish trapped between rocks." The big sharks were surprised. "That was very brave, Finn," one of them said. "Strength isn't just about size, it's also about courage and kindness." Finn beamed. He didn't need to be fierce to be important, he just needed to be himself. And from that day on, Finn wasn't just a little shark. He was a little shark with a big heart. The Lost Spider. In the quiet corner of a big green garden, hidden between the leaves, lived a tiny spider named Lilo. Lilo was small, with long, thin legs and a heart full of curiosity. While the other spiders were busy spinning webs, Lilo loved to explore. One bright morning, as the sun warmed the garden, Lilo saw a beautiful red butterfly flutter past. "I must follow it," she thought. She scurried over flower petals, climbed tall blades of grass, and crossed a tiny stone path. But as the butterfly disappeared into the sky, Lilo suddenly realized something. She didn't know where she was. "Oh no," Lilo whispered. "I'm lost." She tried to retrace her steps, but everything looked different. The flowers were too tall, and the grass seemed to stretch forever. Just then, a friendly ladybug landed on a leaf nearby. "Why do you look so worried, little spider?" "I followed a butterfly, and now I can't find my way home," Lilo said sadly. The ladybug smiled. "Don't worry, let's ask someone for help." Together, they found a busy ant carrying a tiny crumb. "Excuse me," Lilo said. "Do you know the way back to the spiderwebs?" The ant nodded. "Follow the scent of the flowers. It will lead you toward home." Lilo thanked the ant and hurried along, sniffing the sweet scent in the air. Soon, she reached a big, leafy bush, but she still didn't see her home. A bright green grasshopper hopped over. "Where are you going, little spider?" "I'm trying to find my way back," Lilo explained. The grasshopper pointed. "Climb up high. You'll see everything from above." Taking his advice, Lilo carefully climbed a tall sunflower. As she reached the top, she gasped with joy. There it was. Her home, her web, right near the corner of the garden. Excited, she scurried back down and followed the path home. When she finally reached her web, she felt warm and safe. Her spider friends greeted her. "Where were you, Lilo?" "I got lost, but I met kind friends who helped me," she said. That night, as Lilo curled up in her web, she smiled. She had learned that even when you're lost, kindness and friendship will always help you find your way. The Owl Who Loved the Stars. In a quiet forest, nestled under a blanket of night, there lived a little owl named Orion. Unlike other owls who spent their evenings hunting or calling to one another, Orion had a unique passion. He loved the stars. Every night, after the sun sank below the horizon and the sky turned a deep shade of indigo, Orion perched on the highest branch of his favorite tree to gaze at the twinkling lights above. Orion wasn't just fascinated by the stars. He felt a deep connection to them. He loved the way they shimmered and told stories in the sky. He often traced the constellations with his wing, imagining grand adventures among the celestial lights. But despite his love for the stars, Orion felt a pang of sadness. "If only I could fly high enough to touch them," he often whispered to himself. One particularly clear night, as Orion stared longingly at the stars, a soft, musical voice interrupted his thoughts. "Why do you look so sad, little owl?" asked the moon, her silver glow illuminating the forest. Orion blinked in surprise. He had never spoken to the moon before. "I love the stars," he said, "but they're so far away. I wish I could fly to them and see them up close." The moon smiled kindly. "The stars are indeed far, but their light travels all the way to you. Perhaps there is another way to feel closer to them." "Another way?" Orion tilted his head, intrigued. "Have you ever noticed how the stars form patterns in the sky?" the moon asked. "Each one tells a story. If you learn their stories, you'll carry a piece of them in your heart." Inspired by the moon's words, Orion decided to learn everything he could about the constellations. He began by listening to the whispers of the wind, which carried tales of the Great Bear, the Hunter, and the Swan. He asked the wise old oak tree about the stars it had seen over centuries. And he even visited the babbling brook, which reflected the night sky, and shared its shimmering secrets. As Orion learned the stories of the stars, he felt a newfound closeness to them. He discovered that the Great Bear was a protector, the hunter a symbol of bravery, and the swan a reminder of grace and beauty. Each story filled Orion's heart with wonder and joy. One evening, as Orion shared a constellation's tale with a group of curious fireflies, the moon reappeared. "You've found your way to the stars, haven't you?" she asked. Orion nodded, his eyes shining as brightly as the stars themselves. "I may not be able to touch them, but their stories make them feel close, like old friends." The moon's smile grew wider. "And now, you've become a storyteller yourself. By sharing the stars' stories, you bring their light to others." From that night on, Orion became known as the storyteller of the forest. Animals from near and far came to listen as he wove tales of the constellations. The Playful Little Dog. In a small cozy town, there lived a playful little dog named Benny. He had soft brown fur, a wagging tail that never stopped, and the biggest, happiest smile. Benny loved to run, jump, and play all day long. Every morning, he would wake up his best friend, Emma, by licking her face. "Benny," she would giggle, "you're always so full of energy." One sunny afternoon, Emma took Benny to the park. There were tall trees, chirping birds, and lots of other dogs playing. Benny couldn't wait to run and make new friends. As soon as Emma unclipped his leash, he zoomed across the grass, barking happily. He saw a big golden retriever rolling in the flowers, a tiny poodle chasing a butterfly, and a shaggy black dog digging in the dirt. "Let's play!" Benny barked excitedly. But as he ran toward the other dogs, he tripped over his own paws and tumbled into a pile of leaves. The dogs turned to look at him. "Oops," Benny said, shaking off the leaves. The golden retriever chuckled. "You're a silly one. I'm Max." "I'm Bella," the poodle said with a wag of her curly tail. "I'm Rocky," the shaggy dog barked. "Do you want to dig with me?" Benny's eyes lit up. "I love digging." Soon, the 4 dogs were running, chasing, and playing together. Benny was having the best time ever. Then, he noticed something. A small puppy, all alone, was sitting under a bench, looking sad. Benny trotted over. "Hi, why aren't you playing?" The puppy, a little beagle named Toby, looked down. "I don't know how," he said softly. Benny's tail wagged even faster. "That's okay, I'll teach you." He showed Toby how to chase a ball, run through the grass, and even do a little happy dance. Soon, Toby was laughing and wagging his tail too. "Playing is fun," Toby said. Emma, watching from the bench, smiled. "Benny, you have the biggest heart." Benny barked happily. He didn't just love playing, he loved making others happy too. As the sun began to set, Emma called, "Come on, Benny, time to go home." Benny gave his new friends one last wag. "See you tomorrow for more fun." And as he walked home beside Emma, he knew that the best part of playing wasn't just running and jumping, it was sharing the joy with friends. The Prince Kangaroo. Kip wasn't just any kangaroo, was the son of the Kangaroo King, making him the prince of all the outback. But Kip didn't feel like a prince. Unlike the other kangaroos, who hopped gracefully and swiftly, Kip was clumsy. His big feet always got in the way, and whenever he tried to jump high, he would trip and tumble. "I'll never be a great king like my father," Kip sighed. One day, the wise old emu, Elder Emmett, called Kip aside. "A true leader isn't just the strongest jumper," Emmett said. "A true leader must have courage, kindness, and wisdom. You will go on a journey to discover what makes you special." With excitement and a little nervousness, Kip set off on his adventure. As he hopped along, he heard a faint cry. Near a dry riverbed, a tiny bilby was trapped under a fallen branch. "I'll save you," Kip said, using his strong legs to push the branch away. The bilby wiggled free and smiled. "Thank you, Prince Kip. You're very strong." Kip blinked. "I am?" He had never thought of himself as strong before. Further along, Kip found a group of wombats arguing over food. "This is my patch of grass," one said. "No, it's mine," another shouted. Kip thought for a moment, then stepped forward. "Why don't you share?" he suggested. "There's plenty for everyone." The wombats paused, then nodded. "You're very wise, Prince Kip." Kip smiled. Maybe he was wiser than he thought. At last, Kip reached the tallest rock in the outback. There, a frightened young joey clung to the edge, too scared to jump down. When Kip returned home, the Kangaroo King greeted him with pride. "You have shown strength, wisdom, and kindness," the king said. "You are ready to be a great leader one day." Kip beamed. He might still trip sometimes, but he now knew that being a prince wasn't about perfect jumps, it was about having a big heart. From that day on, Kip hopped with confidence, knowing he was special just as he was. The inspiring story of Leo the Brave. In the heart of the vast golden savanna, a young lion cub named Leo was born. From the moment he opened his bright amber eyes, it was clear that Leo was different. Unlike his siblings, who loved to play and chase each other through the tall grass, Leo was often found gazing at the horizon, wondering what lay beyond his home. Leo was smaller than the other cubs, and because of this, he was often teased. "You'll never be a great lion," one of the older cubs sneered. "You're too small and too weak." But deep down, Leo knew that strength wasn't just about size, it was about courage, heart, and determination. One day, a great challenge came to the savanna. A terrible drought struck, and the watering hole that sustained the animals began to dry up. "We must find water," King Rafiki declared. "Without it, we will not survive." The older lions set off in search of a new source, but as days passed, they returned with no success. Leo, determined to help, remembered an old tale told by his grandmother about a hidden oasis deep in the mountains. Though others scoffed at the idea, Leo was convinced that the oasis was real. "I will find the water," he said, his eyes filled with determination. Despite his small size and the doubts of others, Leo set off on his journey. The path was treacherous, had to cross rocky hills, navigate dense forests, and avoid dangerous predators. But with each step, Leo's courage grew. He relied on his quick thinking to outwit a prowling leopard, and used his keen senses to find hidden paths. After days of travel, Leo reached the mountains. Exhausted but determined, he climbed higher and higher until he finally saw it, a lush green valley with a sparkling blue lake in the center. The oasis was real! Leo rushed back to the pride, his heart pounding with excitement. "I found it! I found the water!" he cried. At first, the other lions doubted him, but King Rafiki saw the fire in Leo's eyes and decided to follow him. When they arrived at the oasis, the pride was overjoyed. They drank deeply, their strength returning, and knew they had found their new home. King Rafiki looked at his son with pride. "Leo, you have shown that true bravery comes not from size but from heart. You are the bravest lion of all." From that day on, Leo was no longer seen as the smallest cub. He became a symbol of courage and determination, proving that even the smallest among us can make the biggest difference. And so, Leo the Brave became a legend of the savannah, inspiring generations to come. Whiskers was a small, fluffy cat with bright green eyes. He lived in a cozy little house with a kind old woman named Mrs. Gable. Every morning, Whiskers would wake up and stretch, then jump off the bed to greet Mrs. Gable. He would rub against her legs, purring loudly, as she prepared his breakfast. After eating, Whiskers loved to play. He would chase after a bright red ball, batting it around the room with his paws. Sometimes he would climb the curtains, enjoying the view from up high. Mrs. Gable would watch him, smiling at his playful antics. One afternoon, Whiskers decided to explore the garden. He sniffed at the flowers and chased after butterflies, his tail swishing happily. Suddenly, he saw a small bird perched on a branch. He crouched low, ready to pounce, but the bird flew away. Whiskers felt a little disappointed but soon found a new adventure. He discovered a patch of catnip and started rolling around, feeling very happy. As the sun began to set, Whiskers returned to the house, tired but content. Mrs. Gable picked him up and cuddled him close. He purred, feeling safe and loved. They sat together by the window, watching the stars appear. Whiskers knew he was a very lucky cat. He had a warm home, plenty of food, and a loving owner. He drifted off to sleep, dreaming of chasing butterflies and playing with his red ball. Each day was a new adventure for Whiskers, full of joy and simple pleasures. He was not just a pet, he was a member of Mrs. Gable's family, loved and cherished. Their life together was a quiet symphony of affection and companionship. He was, indeed, a very cute cat. In the heart of the savannah, where golden grasses stretched endlessly to meet the horizon, lived a young gazelle named Zara. Though she was small and unassuming compared to the others in her herd, Zara possessed a heart full of courage and a mind quick as lightning. Zara's family often warned her to stay close to the herd. "The world is dangerous, little one," her mother said. "Lions prowl the shadows, and the unknown is no place for a young gazelle." But Zara had always been curious about the world beyond their grazing fields. While others leaped away at the rustle of leaves, Zara would peer closer, her sharp eyes scanning for the source. One fateful day, as the sun dipped low in the sky, casting the savannah in hues of amber and crimson, the herd was grazing peacefully. Suddenly, a cry of distress broke through the evening calm. Zara's best friend, a timid young gazelle named Kimmy, had wandered too close to a thicket where a lioness lay hidden. In a flash, the lioness sprang, her golden eyes locked on Kimi. The herd panicked, scattering in all directions. Kimi froze in terror, unable to move. Zara, however, felt a fire ignite within her. I have to do something, she thought. Her heart pounded as she darted toward the lioness, zigzagging through the tall grass to confuse the predator. Hey, over here! Zara shouted, her voice high but steady. She stamped her hooves and leaped into the air, drawing the lioness's attention away from Kimi. The lioness snarled and began to chase Zara instead. Zara's small frame was built for speed, and she dashed across the plains, her hooves barely touching the ground. She led the lioness further and further away from the herd, until finally, she reached the edge of the plains where a dense grove of acacia trees began. Zara had a plan. She darted into the trees, weaving through the trunks with practiced ease. The lioness, larger and less agile, struggled to keep up. Zara spotted a narrow gap between two large rocks and squeezed through. The lioness, unable to fit, roared in frustration before slinking back toward the open savanna. When Zara was certain the danger had passed, she cautiously made her way back to the herd. Kimi was there, trembling but unharmed. The other gazelles surrounded Zara, their eyes wide with admiration. You saved her, one of the elders said. You were so brave. From that day forward, Zara was no longer seen as just a small, curious gazelle. She became a symbol of courage for her herd, proving that even the smallest among them could make a difference. The younger gazelles looked up to her, often asking for stories of her daring rescue. Zara would always smile and say, "Courage isn't about being unafraid. It's about doing what's right, even when you are scared." Zara continued to explore the savannah, her bravery and quick thinking keeping her and her herd safe. Her legend grew, spreading across the plains, and she became known as Zara the Brave. The unique white tiger. In the dense, green jungles of India, where the trees whispered in the wind and the rivers sparkled under the sun, lived a young tiger named Arya. But Arya was different from the other tigers. While they had orange fur with black stripes, Arya's fur was white as snow with bold, dark stripes. The other animals often stared at her. Some were amazed by her beauty, while others whispered behind her back. She looks strange. A monkey chattered. She doesn't blend in like other tigers, a parrot squawked. Arya felt sad. Why am I different? I wish I looked like the others. One day, as Arya wandered through the jungle, she heard a rustling in the bushes. A small deer was trapped in a thorny vine, struggling to get free. Hold still, Arya said gently. She used her sharp claws to carefully cut the vine without hurting the deer. Thank you, the deer cried. You are so kind, Arya. Arya smiled for a moment, but then she sighed. I may be kind, but I still don't fit in. That evening, as the jungle grew dark, a group of tigers gathered near the river. They were worried. A hunter has been spotted near our home, the eldest tiger said. We must be careful. Later that night, Arya heard footsteps in the jungle. A hunter was creeping through the trees, looking for tigers. But because Arya's fur was white, she blended into the moonlit surroundings perfectly. An idea sparked in her mind. Quietly, she moved behind the hunter and let out a loud, powerful roar. The hunter, startled, turned to look but saw nothing, just the glowing moonlight. Scared and confused, the hunter ran away, leaving the jungle safe once more. The next morning, the tigers and other animals gathered around Arya. You saved us, Arya, the eldest tiger said. Your white fur made you invisible in the moonlight. You are special. Arya's heart swelled with pride. She finally understood being different wasn't a weakness, it was her strength. From that day on, Arya no longer wished to be like the others. She stood tall, proud of who she was, the unique white tiger of the jungle,